One day, the young man came up to me at a lake, and he ended up slapping me in front of this young girl that I guess he was trying to impress. Me and him ended up getting into a fight. I ended up winning the fight, and it was over with. I thought it was over with after that point, and we still hung around each other. We used to ride our bikes to school and so forth. And then, like I said, right after that, what ended up happening was the young man ended up breaking into the maintenance shed of the apartments that we stayed in. And when he broke into that, he ended up stealing a can of gasoline that was used for the lawnmowers. And we used to go to this lake, and right behind it was some woods, and we used to, that's where I was hang out, 10-year-old boy stuff. That was our clubhouse. And he ended up stashing gasoline in the woods. So that day came that the incident happened, and it was my brother, this guy named Anthony, and like two other guys that was with us, and we was out there at the lake fishing. And he ended up, well, some of the boys was in the woods, and me and Anthony was fishing, and he caught us into the woods. So we walked back, and he called my name one time, and I was talking to my friend Anthony, so I didn't turn around, I didn't look, and that's when I was told the young man, well, before we made it back there, he had poured the gas into a Cool Whip bowl, and when he called my name the first time, he took a match, lit it, and threw it into the Cool Whip bowl, and started to fire. And he called my name again. I still didn't turn around. But that third time when he called my name, I started turning around, and he picked up the Cool Whip bowl and threw it on me.
I'm back. I am super excited about this episode of So What Success Stories with me, Summer Owens. Today, I am talking to a newer friend, and this is Justin Brazil. I think we met Justin speaking on a panel together. I think that was our first time meeting. Yeah, when we spoke on a panel together, and I was blown away by his story. He has an amazing story of resilience, super positive attitude, and just an overall great person. So probably to no surprise, Justin is a public speaker. His story has led him to become a public speaker, and he's also a retired Navy veteran. So super excited to get into this interview, but Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Been there was all my life till I was the age of 18. And I eventually ended up joining the military. Like I said, I traveled all over the world, did 3 deployments, and decided to come on home. And it's surprising how life leads you in its own way. And somehow I ended up becoming a speaker. I used to be so shy, I never want to step on stage, but
I can attest to that too.
Yeah, so it just bathed me, and the next thing you know, I've been asked to speak all over the world in different places, India, Africa, some of the places I visited, Canada, Australia. It's just amazing.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so military. So tell us a little bit about your military career. What did you do in the Navy?
What I did in the
Besides
Navy,
travel all over the world, which is awesome in and of itself.
Well, when I first joined in, I started out in the air department. What I did was, if you ever seen a Navy commercial, on the flight deck of aircraft carrier, you will see all these different colored shirts. And you'll see like a blue shirt and a yellow shirt. Blue shirt, they used to what they call chalk and chain. They used to make sure that the airplanes were tied down because we were going through some rocky seas, so we needed to be secured. I did that for a while, then it became a yellow shirt. I was a director. I used to, if you ever seen shooting off planes off the boat, there's that type of work. Got bored with that, and I decided to go into weapons. And when I went, I had to take a test and went into weapons. And from there, I started building missiles, bombs, torpedoes. I was a small arms weapons instructor. I helped train over 4,000 military personnel from 9mm to 50 cal sniper rifles and grenades and grenade launchers and stuff. Yeah, it's that type of stuff.
Oh, wow. Well, that's super, super interesting. And so now you're on a totally different career, totally different career.
Little bit laid back now.
and changing lives and making a huge impact through sharing your story. So let's get into it. So in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. And what I believe is that if anyone can learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, they can achieve so what success. And that is success in spite of anything that you might go through. And Justin, I know you are a so what success story, that you have been through some things and you know that you can be successful even going through some of the worst things that you can possibly imagine. So talk to us a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome and just how you've overcome those obstacles.
Okay. Well, around the age of 9 years old, I started to get bullied. In school, they ended up putting me into special needs classes. They said I didn't learn the same. And you know how kids can be, they get to picking on certain people. And being in that classroom, we got picked on. But this one young man paid particular interest to me. And he kept on beating me up, pushing on me, all that, just bullying overall. And it ended up with me being set on fire a week after my last day of school, my 4th grade year. I ended up
You
being
see how
burned.
you just ease into that, like that's not a major thing. Like it ended up, you said it like it ended up with me going to the principal's office. No.
They ended up,
Say that again. And you got to tell this story, because the first time I heard you were speaking on a panel and I'm like, wait, what did he just say? So
okay.
ease us into that story a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about that.
All right. So one day, the young man came up to me at a lake, and he ended up slapping me in front of this young girl that I guess he was trying to impress. Me and him ended up getting into a fight. I ended up winning the fight. And it was over with. I thought it was over with after that point, and we still hung around each other. We used to ride our bikes to school and so forth. And then, like I said, right after that, what ended up happening was the young man ended up breaking into the maintenance shed of the apartments that we stayed in. And when he broke into there, he ended up stealing a can of gasoline that was used for the lawnmowers. And we used to go to this lake, and right behind it was some woods, and we used to, that's where I was hang out, 10-year-old boy stuff. That was our clubhouse. And he ended up stashing gasoline in the woods. So that day came that the incident happened, and it was my brother, this guy named Anthony, and like 2 other guys that was with us, and we was out there at the lake fishing. And he ended up, well, some of the boys was in the woods, and me and Anthony was fishing, and he caught us into the woods. So we walked back, and he called my name one time. And I was talking to my friend Anthony, so I didn't turn around. I didn't look. And that's when I was told the young man, before we made it back there, he had poured gas into a Cool Whip bowl. And when he called my name the first time, he took a match, lit it, and threw it into the Cool Whip bowl, and started to fire. And he called my name again. I still didn't turn around. But that third time when he called my name, I started turning around, and he picked up the Cool Whip bowl and threw it on me. And yeah, it was, I took off running. I remember the first thing kicked in my head was from school. They used to tell us, stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, stop, drop, and roll. And I rolled around, and mind you, it was little sticks. It was in some wood. So even still to this day, I guess I still have wood working its way out of my body. They got trapped in there from stop, dropping, and rolling. After I was out, my brother ended up helping put me out, and we had to walk maybe about a quarter of a mile from where it happened to we walked home. And mother intuition is correct. I remember my mother, when we was walking up there near the house, my mother was coming downstairs. She was crying. She just knew something wasn't right. And I remember I went into the house, and my mother was breaking anything that was mirror, anything that I could see myself in. She was like, you need to break. She told my brother to go into the bathroom, shut the bathroom because he doesn't need to see himself. He might go into shock. And after that, it went blank. It went dark. I don't remember anything. I think I was out for a while. Next thing I remember, I woke up, I was in a different city. I was in Galveston, Texas at the Shriners Burn Hospital. And while I was there, well, by the time I woke up, I think I had went through 23 surgeries, 23, 24. In total, I had to go through 64 surgeries total from the age of 10 to 18. Um, Years of physical therapy. I didn't eat any because when he threw the fire on me, my mouth was open. I opened my mouth and I ended up swallowing some of the fire. So I couldn't eat solid foods for months. They fed me milk through my nose. It was just a bad situation. But the first time I was able to eat food, let me tell you something. That's maybe the reason why I'm greedy to this day. But I tell you, I ate. It was so good. It was so good. And I love food. But
that just makes me think about, how the things we take for granted, right? And how much you could appreciate being able to eat food after this traumatic experience, how this was something that stood out for you. That is, we just said, okay, so what a story. Okay, I want you to tell more about it as we go through the rest of these questions.
Okay.
And I thank God for you. I thank God that you survived that, and that you are here today and still can be a positive spirit and share that story. So, okay, that's a huge obstacle. That is a huge obstacle. Talk about a little bit about how you were able to overcome that obstacle.
Well, I spent a lot of time by myself. I couldn't go outside for years. So, I had a lot of time to read comic books. And how usually in those comic books and the beginning of what happens to how they receive their powers is something traumatic that happens to them. So I started to, as I read all these comic books, I started to look at it like I received my superpowers. So, and I didn't know what it was at the time. It was like I didn't feel pain. Um, Most of my nerves wasn't working right. So it was like, oh, well, that's it. So I can't feel pain. So I guess that's my superpower. But I learned later on during the years that was not. It might have played a part in it, but I had to just look at life differently as a 10-year-old looking at like I wasn't the same. Anywhere I went, I was different. So that's how I kind of got over it. And I remember I was in the room one day. I think I was 12 years old at the time, and a commercial came on that was saying, "Be all you can be." And that's what I was like, you know what? I want to be that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to join the military. That's what I'm going to do. I had to find something to focus on for me to get past everything, just to block everything else out and focus on that. And from that point forward, I found out what would it take to join the military, like how many sit-ups, push-ups, jumping jacks, so forth. And even though I couldn't do one, every day I tried to do one push-up until I was able to do that. Then I tried to get to 5. And then once I got to 5, it took me 6 years to get to the point to join the military, to get to the point where my body could take it. So I just found something I can focus on to get past everything.
Okay, that was awesome. That gave me chills, every bit of it. So first of all, you like, oh, I'm gaining my superpower. And you really did. So even it became a mind thing, right? A mental thing that gave you this really superhuman strength in your mind to be able to deal with something so traumatic. And I love how you were able to, at such a young age, to find that thing that you needed to focus on. And I know that played a role in a lot of the decisions that you made throughout your life. And I will talk about that when we get to our third question. So, all right. So the next part of the SOA success system is eliminating excuses, learning how to eliminate excuses. Talk about some of the excuses that you had to eliminate, or maybe some of the excuses that you even made, so that you could get to where you are today.
Well, I remember as even if we can go back to what my doctors would tell me about the military. I remember I went to this. I used to have to drive. Well, the Shriners drove me from Memphis, Tennessee to Galveston, Texas every 2 weeks, and to be examined by doctors and set up surgeries and so forth. And um, I remember I told my doctor one day, he was like, I was like, I'm going to join the military. He was like, I don't know about that, Justin. He was like, that's a little rough. I don't know if your body can take it. You know, they might reject you because of your body. You know, I was working, I had lung damage. I mean, most of my body wasn't working correctly. So, you know, I looked at it, I wasn't going to accept it. I just told him, thank you. So, you know, it was, I didn't let other people put limitations on myself, so I was going to put limitations on myself. I would not accept the excuse for myself not to reach that point or get to my objective. You know, people would tell me, I don't know if you're able to do this. They told me I wasn't going to be able to live a physical life because on the right side of my body, I do not have pores, so I don't sweat the same. So it was saying that your body's going to overheat, your body's going to do that. And, you know, and sometimes I felt down and I started making excuses. Well, no, I ain't going to be able to do it. But I had to realize that only person that can stop me from achieving something or doing something was me. So once I got that put in my head, excuses were out the door. You know, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And uh, I remember I had went to MEPS. Well, I actually went to the Navy recruiting office, and the lady, while I walked in, and the lady looked at me. She was like, "You sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this." And um, anyway, she was saying that, well, we can't take you to Memphis because Memphis is a little strict at their MEPS, the Military Acceptance Processing Station. I said, okay. They were like, we're gonna take you to Little Rock, Arkansas, and we ended up going back and forth for, we went there twice. The last time I went there, I was signing paperwork and so forth, and this guy busted in the room, and he was talking to the instructor, and they was like, okay, stand up, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, don't pay attention to nothing around you. We finna swear y'all in. I'm like, yeah, I made it. I did this. Yeah. So, well, we was walking and through the hallway, and I'm starting hearing guns start racking. I'm seeing dogs running everywhere, and I'm trying to be extra military because of what the man said, but this got me nervous. Went in there, we swore in. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I shed a tear because I was happy I made it to that point. And as we was coming back, it was more dogs and more guns, right? I'm like, what is going on? So we ended up finishing paperwork, and it was like, it's something in the world that you need to see. And you need to go look at the TV room. We went to the TV room, and one of the guys that came with me, he was looking at the TV. It was like everybody was just locked in on the TV. And I went up to him, I said, hey man, what are y'all watching? Armageddon or something? And then it was like the saddest look on his face. And he turned and looked at me, and I looked at the TV, and that's when the second plane turned and hit the World Trade Center. It was on September 11th.
That was
on 2001. And at that point, I could have made plenty of excuses because we all knew what that meant. We were finna go to war. But I could have made plenty of excuses of, I ain't gonna be able to do it now. Because I think it was 85% of the people who signed up at that time did not go. They did not go to the military. And they was like, nope, not doing it. But I had to look back at all the things that I went through to get to this point. There will be no excuse made. And I served my time. I did 3 deployments. I did everything that I fulfilled my contract as a man. I believe you should.
And I thank you for your service. And Ooh, just blown away by your strength, your courage, your endurance. That's awesome. Yeah. So excuses. You could have made a lot of excuses. You had every opportunity to make an excuse not to go after what you had already set as a goal when you were 12 years old. And then everybody would have understood why you didn't do it, right? Everybody would have said, okay, I understand. Same, and I can relate to that. In my own life, people would have understood if you didn't go after something that you knew you really wanted to do and that was in your heart to do. Okay, so the third part of the SOA success system is calculating choices, and you've already alluded to choices, but talk about a little bit more about some choices, some calculated choices that you've made throughout your life that led you to be this now retired Navy man and a public speaker changing lives all over the world. Talk about some of your choices.
All right. One of the hardest choices I ever had to make was after my last deployment, I came home. And I decided I wanted to go to school. So I ended up signing up here in Memphis, Tennessee. I work great with my hands. I decided to go become a welder. And I went to school for it. And the first day in class, the teacher set us in this room. And they was like, we want y'all to tell us a little bit about yourself. I sat in the far right corner. They started in the front left corner. About 3 guys in, there was a young man that stood up. He walked up to the class. He was talking about he's been in and out of jail and all that stuff, and he's trying to get his life together. And I was like, I know this dude from somewhere. And I know this face. I don't forget faces. I might forget your name, but I don't forget faces. And I was just sitting there and I was just looking, and then it hit me. That's the boy that set me on fire.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I was after he got done, he sat down, I stood up. At this point in time, maybe I'm like 290 pounds. I lift weights 7 days a week, 3 hours a day. I was very, very well trained. I walked up to the front of the class and I was looking at everybody like, I'm next. And I went up there and I looked this man in his eyes and I went through everything that I did in the military, all the trainings and all these courses and all the stuff that I did. And I made the room uncomfortable because the teacher was like, okay, we're going on break. And
let me ask you this: how old were you at this point? What was the distance between when it happened at 10?
It was 12 years?
Okay.
No, 14, 15 years?
Okay.
Yeah, 15. It had to be about 15 years. And the anger was still there.
Of course.
Anytime I put anything down or any bullet down range, only person that I pitched was him. Anytime I did any training, it was him. It was like, if I ever see this guy, it's going to be a problem. Because back then I didn't believe in violence. I seen it in my household. I was just trying to be a happy kid, and he stole it from me. And now I'm standing in front of this class and I'm looking at this man and I want to steal something from him. And the teacher pulled me and he was like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm steadily trying to walk out. He was like, Justin, come here. I said, I'm good. He was like, come here. I'm like, no. And I walked out and I went looking for this young man. So when I went looking for him, I ended up finding him near the cafeteria. And I walked up on him and I was like, man, do you know who I am? He was like, nah, I don't know who you are. I mean, this guy's maybe 120 pounds with water in his pockets. So, so
he like, no, I don't know you. I don't know. You don't want them problems.
I don't know you at all. And I was like, yeah, you do. And then I was like, so around that time, people started coming around. And when I was at the cafeteria when I was walking off. Okay, so when after the crowd came around, I guess he was trying to I don't know. I guess he was trying to make himself feel bigger. I guess it was pride at that point. And I walked off. as I was walking towards the door, I looked back and the crowd just kind of started dissipating from, I guess it was the look that I had on my face. And I walked to my car, popped the trunk of my car, grabbed a couple weapons, and I'm headed back to the school. And as I was headed back to school, it was just like, well, as I was walking up to my, I think if you ever seen a cartoon character, steam coming off his head, that's how mad I was.
Can only
And
imagine.
but it was just like a gust of wind that stopped me, and it kind of just stopped me in my tracks as I was walking. It kind of made me stumble a little bit, stutter, step or whatever, and it gave me time enough to think. I had another choice. Do- if I go in here, I'm going to jail for years. And the best choice I ever made in my life was to turn around, put those guns up, and drive off. And in that time, I didn't leave the school, and I had a decision to make. I had a choice to make. I had to forgive this man because I had to think back about it. If I look at it as he played his part in my life, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't never went to the military. If it wasn't for him, I might have never seen all these places, have friends all over the world, experience life in so many ways. So
And you
sometimes
wouldn't have found your superpower.
I know, right? I would never find my superpower. So choices, I could have made a bad choice that day, but the choice that I ultimately made ended up leading me to become a mentor, to talk to young people about bullying. That choice I made that day ended up made it so when I became a mentor, I remember the second year I got an article written about me, and it went everywhere. And ultimately, if I would have made that decision of doing something to that man, uh, I would have never became a speaker. I would have never became anything. So, like the choices, that was a major choice in my life that I believe actually put my life on a different path. It helped change my mentality. It helped change the way because I wasn't living just a perfect life, but as I became a mentor, I started to change my life. So he has played a major role in my life. So I can't be mad at that. He just was there. He only did what he was supposed to do to help push me forward.
Wow. Wow. That you can look at the situation that way. I mean, I always talk about when I speak to reframing the situation, and it's exactly what you did. And I can't imagine how difficult that was, but how powerful it was that you chose to look at the situation in that way and to see what he did, this act, this horrible act, but as a major positive contribution to you becoming the man that you are today. That's huge. That is huge. And I like how you said that too, that one choice that you could have made. Justin, you have definitely proven that if you can learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and make some calculated choices, that you can have so what success. And that again is success in spite of anything that you've gone through. And you've gone through the worst. I mean, some of the worst things that I guess many of us could not imagine. I personally cannot imagine dealing with. But here you are, this positive spirit, doing so much and impacting the lives of others in such a positive way. You are so what success story. But tell me, Justin, how do you define success? What's your personal definition of success?
Some people can look at success as something like money, like having a lot of money, driving fancy cars, things of that nature. But like making the people around you proud of being like, that's my whatever, that's my friend, that's my brother, that's my cousin. Like and actually being able to change people's lives, the mind states and how they think, or being an example, something different in the world. That's what I look at as success. You can make a lot of money and be miserable as a person, have a miserable mentality, or just going through life miserable. Well, I remember some of the best times I ever had in my life. I was broke. I was
Oh, yeah.
dead broke. So that money does not matter. That is nowhere near. But when you wake up in the morning and you can be proud of yourself and what you're doing, and
Yeah.
and happy. That's what I define as success.
I love it. I love it. I love it. As we grow and we mature, our definition of success grows and matures too, doesn't it? I love it. I love it. Okay. I have one last question for you. For someone who's watching this and they want success too, however they might define it, because you've had success. You're a successful speaker now. You've had a successful military career. You've had other successes in your life. But what about somebody watching this and they feel like, I need some success too, but I keep running into obstacles? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, you got to look at it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprinting race. Success will come in time. You just have to stay focused on what you want in life. Once you get focused on something, you have to be laser beam focused. If you want it, you got to cut out the weekend party. You need to focus on getting to your ultimate goal, your objective. If you're not working towards your goal in life that you want or your success, it's not, you really don't want it. Like, you really have to want whatever you want to, because you have competition everywhere. When you're out there sleeping or drinking or playing or always just going at it lackadaisy, your competition is at it hard every single day. So you have to work hard at everything that you want in life and not let anybody influence you or take you away from your dreams or your goals. You are the only one that can stop you from your success. And that's what you put, allowing distractions and so forth in your life. So if you can push that, eliminate everything like that out your way, you can become successful as you want.
I love it. I love it. As you were saying that, I was picturing you doing that one push-up one day and 2 the next and 10 the next week until you got to where you wanted to be. And that was in your body that has sustained these burns, this body that had been counted out and told that you couldn't do it, and how you built your body up, you built your muscles up till you could achieve that goal. And I think that goes right along with the advice you just gave. I thank you, Justin. This was a very, very powerful interview. I love your smile. I'm so grateful that you can smile through this and that you are making other people smile by changing their lives every single day. Thank you so much, Justin. I'm so glad we met.
Same here. Same here.